Hello, my name is Francis Fox. Little out of sorts today, but very, very happy with the map that I did of the United States. Going back to politics, let's go ahead and use this as the. Here we go. What we're seeing here is we have the Galactic Federation protection. We have more than two of them, but you wouldn't be able to see the map if I put up all the protection. We continue to have, which I did not sketch, the protection that where the United States creates a different reality from everybody else. Not that just an independent reality. So if somebody else does something dumb on the planet, like nuclear bomb or whatever, going to war, we're protected. The only place we're not as protected is here, and I'm going to go into that in a minute. Florida looks great. It's firm. The relationship between Elon and Trump is firm. What does that mean? This is the helpful friends section of the Bagua map applied to the United States. It means that even though some of us cringe when Trump says things to other countries, because the helpful friends section is strong, that energy is the one that should win out, or it should be totally supportive of whatever it is, the relationships, not just within the country, but this country with other countries. California's looking better. How did that happen? But it's happening. Okay. The vibration of California, which has been god awful since I started to sketch, massive improvement. Great. And energy overall, worldwide compliments on disclosures about conspiracies. So even though when you look at the news, it looks like everybody's mad at the United States or they have these opinions and Trump is blah, 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 worldwide compliments on disclosures about conspiracies. It's not easy to be truthful. Let's go back here. So here we have a dilemma. I'm under house arrest, but self-imposed house arrest. Maybe somebody should bring me some food or something because, man, my dog and I, we are really tired of this. Anyway, remember that Uber Eats has been controlled by the intelligence community. And I have proof of that. There's no issue. I have proof several times over. So I can't order food. But anyway, so maybe like a care basket. You know that we send so much care stuff in the USAID to other countries. Why can't some of that be sent over here to me? Not the money. I don't need the money. Well, why would I need money if I can't get out of here? Entertainment, conversation, food, different food. That would be great. I think I'm saying that because I'm questioning whether I should say the next things, which basically could leave me under house arrest longer. I'm under a self-imposed house arrest. Not a good idea for me to hang out in the streets in a city that's full of people that really basically want me gone. Okay, so it's not, if I was a real house arrest, I guess I wouldn't be saying it. Maybe I'd have something on my ankle, which I don't. Why am I postponing what I want to share, but I'm worried about it costing me? Remember, I talked about there being a meeting in this area, and they were so angry, the people at that meeting, that it created a small earthquake right off the coast. And I said, they may have been on a luxury boat when they had this meeting. Right now, there's a portal opening there because of the level of rage. A particular group of people that maybe that's their center. And I said that you should look up the book Iron Mountain. There was some kind of a connection with that. In Iron Mountain, it was a group of people getting together, politicians and other people decades ago, trying to figure out how they could keep the economy going I was asking for a peace symbol together with the third eye, and somebody started to draw it, so there's nothing weird going on there. Anyway, these people are very angry, but look at the word I put there, death roll. What is a death roll? A death roll is when an alligator grabs his victim and then goes into a roll, and I don't know if they drown the animal or the person, and that's called a death roll. They are in a death roll. In other words, somebody has grabbed them and they're going down. Okay, so what's so bad about saying that? Nothing. They probably already know that. Okay, so what is it that I'm hesitating? There's some stuff going on here with shipping. There's some stuff going on here with shipping and with nuclear. So am I going to get really put under house arrest? No, because I think the people that could put me under house arrest might be the people that need to go and figure out the whole thing that I'm talking about. I don't know. You should ask other people. I'm not the only remote viewer out there, by the way. I don't know how many remote viewers do this. I don't know of anybody else that does maps. Certainly, that has not done maps for at least 60 years. But this is looking really, 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 really good. Yes, I do Instacart. What they have done in the past, I haven't done it for 6 months, is that they have some political figure that would want me gone. I assume that they have them outside of when they pick up the food, which is usually from Publix, and then they bribe them and say, "I'll deliver it." I don't know, but I've done the whole gamut. No, we're not going to give you the address, and it's okay. And I'm joking, but I'm not really joking. Okay, so here we go. This is looking really, really good. So we have to now start to anchor the next stage. So here, I had a thought the other day. I know it's a crazy thought. I've been trying for several years to do something having to do with like a documentary on what the Mayans left us, tried to leave us, having to do with this place that we're in now, this ending of a cycle, going into a new cycle, going into the golden age. Information that would make it less painful. Remember that I told you that the biggest question mark in archaeology is what happened to the Mayans? And they keep sending scientific groups to Mexico and to the Central America to find out what happened to those cultures and those huge cities. And from one day to the next, they're gone. The last one came back, the last research group came back, I think it was in, time goes by too quickly, maybe the previous December, not this last one, but the previous, and said that no, there had not been a drought. They did not know why the Mayans simply, from one day to the next, disappeared. They disappeared because they just slipped into the other dimensions without chaos. Contrary to the Atlanteans, who did not complete the cycle, and it was a chaos, so chaotic we know about it today. The history of the Great Flood is in all cultures. The Mayans did it gracefully. So I think, being it that I am associating with three people whose past lives were associated. So let me tell the story briefly, because we can have some fun now. From here on out, we can have some fun. So the Mayans, when the Spaniards came and the conquistadores, they burned everything because obviously these indigenous people are dumb as a rock. And the Mayans wanted to leave something for us for today. And what they did was that they hid it. How did they hide it? The same way people hide things today that are really sophisticated in the other dimensions. They did black magic. They did, I don't know if it was a series of ceremonies or one ceremony. They sacrificed, I believe it was 17 young Mayan souls, but not like babies, teenagers. And those souls were attached to the intention of the black magic ritual, that people would not be able to see where this information was, or the cities. So you have a series of cities, Mayan cities in northern Guatemala, that there's a big question mark as how could they have cities that are megalopolis, huge, and nobody saw them when it was relatively trafficked in the sense of people going through there, people flying over there. And it was like, why didn't anybody see it? Well, everybody, personal life, business, if you got this question mark and you don't get it, what's going on, and you've checked with all the professionals and it still doesn't make any sense, it feel weird, suspect black magic and get it checked out. So they did this ritual. It turns out that I work with 3 people that are reincarnated souls from that ritual in a particular city in northern Guatemala, Mayan city called El Mirador. But they have to have done that in other places also. So I have wanted to get a crew down there and to do the stories, because what I did was I went ahead and did the past lives on these 3 people having to do with that lifetime. It was fascinating, the issues repeat in this lifetime, and they're very much personal issues. One of the people, well, I did a podcast, so I guess it's okay to say it because we said it on the podcast. Um, in that lifetime, his mother adored him, and she agreed that if he was chosen, this is something that needed to happen. So he was one of the sacrificed young people to anchor the magic. In this incarnation, it was really interesting because it appeared to me that he has a question mark about whether his mother loves him. And it appeared to me that when I said, you were like your mother's favorite person in the whole universe, this was so hard. It appeared to me that it was a very helpful piece of information, which is the case when you look at your past lives. You get information, you go, I get it. When I do past lives, a lot of people say, no, you're reading this lifetime. I want the past life. And I go, no, I'm reading the past life. You're just repeating what you did then. You're doing it again. So I think that it's time that we take archaeology and archaeologists and do just what Graham is doing, the guy that did the series on Netflix, Ancient Apocalypse, I think it's called. And he did a second series, but it doesn't seem to be as well filmed. It doesn't feel quite the same, whatever. And there were 100 archaeologists who said, take it down. You can't call it a documentary. That's fiction. I think we need to take the archaeologists, and I think we need to put them in a separate room that's air conditioned, bring in food, keep them busy there. And we need to keep them away from the history of the planet because they have set us back. They're not allowing anything new. And if you're not an archaeologist, well, how about a remote viewer going down there, which is what I would really like to do. Except guess what? I don't have to go there because I can do it from here. But for it to be really impactful, we would need visuals and videos and the whole 9 yards. How beautiful that the Mayans are trying to help us today. How wonderful if we went down to like Puebla, which is where they have this pyramid that they covered up with dirt, and there's a church that was built on top of it. Let's hide the pyramid. Countries working together, cultures working together centuries ago. A bond. The Mayans wanted to help the world. They wanted to help society today. This is like so important. It's also so fascinating. Makes for a great television. And it makes for like a reconnection. Who knows what Trump was in that lifetime? I'm sure he doesn't believe in any of that. He's very, I think, Christian. But who knows? It can be put out just as like a storyline. And for some reason, I think that Trump's son, Barron, is associated with that. Why would I say that? I would only say it if energetically I captured that information. He's not a producer. He's a young kid. He's got too much on his plate. Why would I say that? Am I trying to pitch him? No. But if this is, he sees this, he will know if this is something that makes his heart sing. When I ran into this, it made my heart sing. And then it got difficult. But I'm not sure that I was ready to handle all of that anyway. But it is fascinating. And we need to create new relationships. We can't just be relating to countries because they're not communist, they're not socialist, they have a new let's get down to the business of life. Right now, we're in a really interesting place spiritually. Let's get down to that business without touching religion, because the religion thing just messes it up. I mean, look what they did to Jesus Christ. Come on, you have entire religions built on top of a manipulation of Jesus Christ. Not a single one of those pastors and priests lived the way Jesus Christ lived. Not a single one of them. The indigenous live like that. Oh no, but they don't. Guys, wake up. So I think it would be great to connect having to do with wide lens, the history of the planet, especially being that we're going to be mixing with other planets. We don't even know our own history. So I'm putting it out there. It would be a very exciting project. Interviewing the people whose past life, where they were sacrificed. It would teach people about black magic. There is no explanation of why those cities that are the size of megalopolis in northern Guatemala, they cannot figure out why that could be there for hundreds of years and no one saw it. Those are the scientists, not me. So everything can be done with huge question marks, which is what I can't stand about modern life. You have an explanation in metaphysics, but it doesn't fit their paradigm, therefore it's not acceptable. But this makes sense. Yeah, but it doesn't fit the paradigm. We're not talking about communism, we're not talking about socialism, we're not talking about taxes. Guess what, guys? When you die, none of those things are important. None of them. Mission. Those 17 souls, it was their mission to help the planet. What's your mission? There's a lot going on politically that is very unnerving. I wish it'd finish with Miami or start with Miami or something. But the only way to get on track, when Trump started with all his moves, I was like, you know what? I think maybe slow down a little bit. I don't think so. I think that throwing everything at the darkness all at once was an exceptional idea. Where do you run? Where do you hide to? Who can you call on the phone and let's set something up? There's no time to set anything up because Trump keeps sending out stuff. And if you're not in agreement with what I'm saying having to do with the AID and what Musk found and all the rest of that, okay, but this podcast is not for you, obviously. So, don't irritate yourself. Don't give yourself an ulcer listening to something that doesn't jive for you. It's okay. It's okay. I think we need to start making sense in everything. To me, it didn't make sense doing all this all at once. Looking now, it makes absolute total sense. Let me see, because I think there's a couple of comments. No, wait, I'm not giving my address for you to send food to, but that's sweet. I already said that. It's interesting that in the news, somebody said that they had done some kind of mapping with obviously machines, with equipment of a pyramid, and there seem to be structures underneath it. And there's photographs or sketches or whatever it is that it is. And I didn't spend a lot of time But it was so interesting how the people who supposedly know said, "That's not that's wrong." Okay, so can you explain that? Can you explain why nobody look it up? El Mirador, northern Guatemala, Mayan megalopolis. That means cities that are huge. Nobody saw them, and they walked right through there, walked by there. How is that? Oh, but you're not going to accept the explanation because of your paradigm. You know what? Blankety blank, your paradigm. I don't know what you're going to do when the ET show up. I don't know what you're going to do. You're already not doing well with your kids. You're not on the same page with your kids. You didn't see all this stuff that is getting cleaned up now. You didn't see it coming. Widen your lens. Sit back and just watch. But your instinctive knowing is critical at this time because the Mayans said that after December 21st, 2012, the world as we knew it would no longer exist. I think we can all say that today the world as we know it doesn't exist. And you can say, yeah, but they said that in 2012 and everything continued. The Mayans were talking about a 5,000-year calendar. 2012 to 2025 is not that long in a 5,000-year calendar. Did you think it was going to happen the next day? A lot of people did think it. They thought a bomb or something would explode that day. Widen the lens and let's have some fun. Let's get the archaeologists and let's put them away. We don't have to lock the door, but they're not able to come out unless they have the ability to be true scientists again, which means they cannot sit at the computer. Somebody brings something new, has some photographs. It's possible that this is wrong, but you can't just sit there and go, no, that's not possible. Did you do the science? You know what the definition of science is? To observe and draw conclusions. But you've got to observe. You can't observe until 1938, and then that's it. This is set in stone. It's not set in stone. Everything is in movement. So I think that we need to, and you know what? Another real reason why we need to go after this archaeology thing, in addition to the fact it would be super fun, doing the same thing. Let's say, let's do it. You know what's interesting? I can afford to pay to have this done. I actually did pay somebody to go down there, but the attitude was not correct. I don't think I was centered and grounded enough. So it's not a question of money, it's a question of support and not feeling the way I've felt for decades, which is I'm going to bring this information to the table. By the time I get there, I'll be bloodied. I will be spending my bank account, and everybody will look on it and go, oh, that's good. Next. It's too important. So, one of the reasons we need to open up the lens having to do with planetary history is because in this planet, previous human beings had superpowers. There was something on X where they had a skeleton. Now, how can you deny a skeleton? And it had just one eye. It was a cyclops. And I don't remember what dumb as a rock explanation the scientist gave. That was like a distortion, a person that was born defective. It's in our history, but guess what we call that part of our history? We call it mythology. Oh, I think that's what it is. Baron Trump, I think he likes mythology. Is that possible? I have no idea. I don't know anything about him. For all I know is I'm saying what I get, the same as when I do this. And so I'll withdraw the statement because I don't want somebody thinking I'm trying to pitch to get him in on this, but it keeps coming up. Mythology. You have to study mythology. Carl Jung studied a lot of mythology. That man was brilliant, but he couldn't. I'm sure that he did not present to us everything that he knew because he knew that then the the solid stuff that he could give us that would fall within our paradigm would be rejected because he widened the lens and people couldn't accept it. Therefore, they would throw out everything. So, why do we have to study mythology? Can somebody remind me again? Oh, because of stereotypes. Why do we have to know about stereotypes? Past life patterns? No, 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 no. We are scheduled again now for superpowers. And as I said a couple days ago, but when I see the news, I obviously am a little premature because the politics is taking over. Um, I'm going to start teaching you about superpowers. You have superpowers within you in your third eye. At a point in the planet, it was active, and then we have all these mythological. You have all these ETs that come in that certain human beings considered were gods because they had more power. This is not mythology, this is our history. Okay? This is our history. And we deny it, but not completely, because there's something there. Yeah, there's something there. But the most important thing that's there is the superpowers. Now, my followers, we already are working with superpowers. We started that in 2018. The other day, I said, we're going to use this for beauty. I want to fix my face. And look, it's still good. See the difference between this side of my face and this side of my face? And this is the side of my face that has always been a problem. This is the side that's a problem. So I worked on this side the other day. I think we worked 10, 12 minutes with the mantrista videos, a mantra, and then we went inside. Each of us went inside our etheric head. And I said, it's like a car when it gets smashed in. You take it to the mechanic. He's got a hammer with the rubber at the end. He's inside the car door. From the inside, he goes like this, oh, and it pops back into its proper place. That's what we did. Each of us working on ourselves. This is still holding. Why? Because this is the etheric body, which is the one. From here springs the physical body. From all the defects, all the great stuff spring from the etheric. So if I had a defect here, portals, invasions from all the trauma, whatever, and I fix it here, it's going to fix on the physical. Now, this is your immune system, by the way. Now, why don't you know that? Because conspiracy people, no, people that don't want you to have power, don't want you to know that your immune system has a shape. This was called for hundreds of years your life web. This is your health aura, is this body, which has been identified for centuries. The shape of it was what was not identified. This body is composed of layers and layers of grid. Science found those grids and they call it the Higgs field, the backdrop on which life is held. You have this, so you can work with this. If you've got a hole, a portal someplace, such as here, and other stuff going on here, and this, which I said, I'm going to get rid of those wrinkles, no surgery, nothing. I'm going to get rid of it. First place, these are, what's that book, Red Badge of Courage? Where the man was shot, I think a Civil War soldier, and his red badge of courage was the blood and the, if I'm remembering correctly, I think he ended up dead in the book. So all of these are our red badge of courage for all of us. This anchors, this anchors the most with your physical body is right here, which is the thymus, which is your immune system. When I get really stressed, this starts to get swollen. See the way it's shiny? That's not good. But this temporary situation is getting taken care of. So, superpowers. Do you think that's a superpower? Yes, it is, especially since it was 10 or 12 minutes. So, we have a lot of exciting things. We're going into such an incredible cycle. We are into an incredible cycle. And the whole archaeology thing is really exciting. Really, 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 really exciting. So I'm going to call this quits here. Let me see if there was anything else here. Okay. Purebird said, as Baron has been taught the real history. If I keep picking that up, there's a reason for it. But I mean, I feel an incredible connection with Trump and with Elon. I don't feel a connection with him. I haven't really looked at him. So if it came up that many times, there's something there. It would be a great thing having to do with unity with Mexico. And I didn't paint it, I didn't just sketch it this time, but Mexico is looking really, really, really good. Very much like the United States. And as I told you guys, I think that Trump and the president of Mexico really have a good communication. Who has said that? Nobody. Do I see that in the news? No, I just picked it up myself. You know what? I think this is going to happen. I think this is going to happen. This is exciting. This is the kind of stuff that we need to do more of now that we can, all the bad guys that did everything secretly behind the scenes. Now, you see, if you had a wider lens, this whole country, they would have not been able to have all that secrecy because people's instincts, their instinctive knowing would have been, there's something going on here. There's something going on here. There's something going on here. But we have, as I say in the book where I talk about my discovery of the fundamental structure of the universe, we were constructed to create, and then we were instructed to obey. So everything got really, really distorted. And I think that widening the lens on our history, our planetary history, not just modern history is not that old. What is it, 500 years old? It's not that old. It's not been that successful. Lots of technology, lots of sick people, lots of sick kids, health declining, first time in history that our children are less healthy than adults. 10 or 15 years ago, when I wrote the first edit of the book, which I haven't gotten out, that generation of children their hearts were 15% weaker than their parents. First time in history. So we're going into a good stage. Oh my God, Trump's birthday is today, March 20th. So today is what sign? What sign is today? March 20. Or he would be a Pisces. Yeah, the 21st. He would be going into Pisces. Pisces is the most evolved of all the astrological signs. But they come in, I'm not talking about this young man, and we're not going to talk about him anymore. Pisces come in. They're the most evolved of all the signs. They come into this incarnation. They wake up and they go, oh no, not again. They are so scarred in their soul from everything god awful that they witnessed in terms of unfairness and injustice and human suffering and anguish of the other incarnations, that when they come into this incarnation and they realize they're here again, what they do is they shut down. They just put themselves in a box. I think the psychologists, the astrologers say Pisces put themselves in a box and they operate from that box, from within that box. They can't take it. They're too sensitive. They can't take it. They can't take any more injustice. They can't take it. Interesting. They're also extremely private. I have a child who is Pisces. I'm a psychic. Do you know what it's like for a child who's a Pisces to have a mother who's a psychic? Pisces need privacy. And psychics, psychic mother is like a helicopter parent. Not good for Pisces. I did not know that when I was trying to raise my child. Sometimes I think she raised me. And I think that people need to become more aware of the influences of the planet. And again, oh no, they're just dead bodies out there. Yeah, wait till they start to send people. We can make this fun rather than frightening. We can make this fun rather than frightening. We can teach interspecies communication, which is really simple because you start with your pet. It's all in the head. You start with your pet. Anyway, that's it. Hi. We will see you again. And I'm very happy about this. Death roll for the bad guys. And you should look up the book, um, Report from Iron Mountain. It's a small book. It's out of print. You won't be able to find it on, at least, well, you might want to glance at it. It was interesting. You don't have to believe it. I'm not saying you should believe it, but it's really interesting to read. It has to do with power players behind the scene and them coming up with stuff to keep everything agitated. Okay? Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Bye.